Hello everyone, I'm bringing you a video today looking at another element of Dutch issue kit. And what we're looking at here is the Dutch M53 helmet. Now this, in common with many other continental European armies, is a clone of the US M1, rather nicely made clone, and this is a slightly later example of the liner and so forth. We'll have a look at this in some detail now. It's sort of set up with the cover over the top made of Hessian, and then a net and various other bits and pieces. So I don't plan to remove those because it's how the helmet came to me, so we won't be able to look at the exterior of the shell very much, but we can nevertheless look at the liner and some of the details, obviously what it has in common with the US issue M1 and what's been changed. So we'll have a look at this in some detail now. Right, so here we have it, the M53. Now it's probably very obvious from the start here that this is a clone of the US M1. The shape is very distinctive. I'm not going to remove the cover from this, as already mentioned. We'll just have a look at the interior and obviously the liner and so forth. This is as it came to me, so I'm very keen to leave this as it is. We'll talk about the covering first of all. You can see here we have first a covering of Hessian, basically sandbag material. Then you have a helmet net, and those are held in place with this rubber band, which is a piece of inner tube which has been cut. You can see some of the stamping left on some of the ink stamp on the front of this here. It's just a section of inner tube that's been cut and used as a helmet band, which is a fairly common practice. And then in addition to the net, you also have this section of elastic here, this piece of elastic which loops all the way around. You can see that there. And this can be used to attach additional camouflage in conjunction with the net. Now, I highly recommend going and having a look at Dutch Military History and Reenactment, which is a YouTube channel which has started up recently, and they're looking at sort of a Dutch army kit from a reenacting and collecting point of view. Very, very interesting, and there's a recent episode on camouflage which talks about camouflaging the helmet. So I'll put a pin to that in the corner of the video now. I recommend going and having a look at that. And obviously if you think you'd find that channel interesting and their content interesting, please do consider subscribing to them. I'm subscribed and I've been enjoying watching their uploads. So that video covers the camouflaging of this. You can see that this has had, or appears to have had, different colours applied to the Hessian. You've got sort of a reddy brown there and a darker green, possibly camouflage cream, I think, may have been rubbed on. I think that's how this has been done. I don't think it's paint, but that gives a bit of a camouflage effect to the Hessian itself as well, as you can see there. So that's the exterior of this, and it's camouflaged in typical Dutch fashion. Certainly from the 60s onwards, you see this method of camouflaging the helmets basically across the board. I'm not sure exactly when the elastic started to be added, but certainly the helmet with the Hessian, the net, and the band taken from a piece of inner tube is very common from the 60s onwards. Looking at the interior here, you can see the liner is very, very similar to the M1. There are a few details that mark this out from US manufacture. You can see the details of the interior of the shell here. Luckily, the cover has broken away or come away from the front here, and you can see what I believe to be a date of manufacture here of 83. And as you can see, there's no seam here, so the seam is at the rear on the rim, in common with later US production M1 helmets. The way the chin strap attaches is basically per US practice, with these blackened brass clips which fit into a swivel bail on the side of the helmet there. You can see the chin strap in terms of its construction is very similar to US practice overall. The one difference really is in the buckle used. So this uses a push fit two-prong buckle which then just pulls apart, so it just gives enough tension there to stop this coming adrift when you don't want it to, but if you give it a sharp pull it will then come apart. So that's the method used for attaching or securing the chin strap. This can be adjusted, and of course you can slide this end here, and this little brass section here just slides along, and that shortens the chin strap down as required. So that's a look at the shell and the chin strap of the shell. We'll have a look at the liner here. And this is a later production liner made in green plastic. As you can see here, earlier Dutch liners, I believe, were made in the sort of earlier US style with a resin and cloth reinforcement, obviously the typical way US helmet liners were made during and immediately post World War II. I believe Dutch liners were manufactured in that way. It's possible they were actually US liners remarked with Dutch markings. Not entirely sure on that, but this is a later example. You may be able to see, it's a little difficult to see in the front here, there is a date, I think. What is the date? Just one second. get this in the light here, make sure I'm holding it the right way up so you can see. If I can shine the light in there, you can see the stamp. There we go. The light on it at the right angle. I believe the 71 there is a date. I could be wrong on that. I'd be happy to be corrected on that if I'm wrong. But the details of the liner are basically per what you would see from a Second War US M1 helmet in terms of the suspension and so forth. The way the leather attaches in here is a little bit different. The chin strap is made of webbing, but otherwise the way it attaches to the liner on each side here, and the little cam buckle here, you can see that's basically all consistent with US practice, just that the chin strap's made of webbing rather than leather. And obviously you can see the details of the liner there. You have the ring in the center here, in common with earlier US liners before the crossed webbing was introduced. The nape pad here is basically the same as US practice, so it is a very close copy of the US M1 helmet liner, and you can see the details of the rivets around the outside here as well, where the suspension is attached inside. And obviously you've got these chrome rivets on the side for the chin strap as well. So pop that back inside the helmet here. It just sits in with friction like the US progenitor of the helmet. So as I say, basically a very close copy of the US M1, but with some distinctive features, notably the chin strap on the liner. You do sometimes see the chin strap on the liner looped up over the top of the front peak of the helmet. In this instance it's just tucked away underneath, which you do see as well. So that's a quick look at this M53 helmet. I'm very pleased to have this in this original condition with the camouflage finish and obviously the Hessian and so forth that's been applied here in typical Dutch fashion. It's rather nice to have. And as I say, if you're interested in seeing more about the way these were camouflaged in the field, I suggest going and have a look at the video that I mentioned previously that deals with that in some detail. So I do hope you found it interesting looking at this. I have to say I'm very happy to have an M53 in the collection. Obviously it complements my Dutch uniform and equipment, but a lot of people want these as a stand-in for US M1 helmets, and obviously things could be done to them to make them look more like a US M1, various modifications. But it's nice to have one of these from my point of view to complement the Dutch equipment that I have and the Dutch uniform and so forth. As mentioned in the video, Dutch Army History and Reenactment is well worth a look. Subscribe to them if you haven't already. There'll be future uploads, no doubt, looking at more of sort of Dutch Army history from the late Cold War era, not only uniform and equipment, but also procedures regarding camouflage, operational doctrine and so forth, I believe. Certainly the camouflage video that was uploaded recently was interesting, both in referring back to the manuals of the time, photographs of what was actually done in the field, and also recreating that as well in the modern day. So I really enjoyed that video, and as I say, more of that sort of stuff is going to be uploaded going forward, I'm sure. So go and subscribe over there if you haven't already. Definitely think that would be worthwhile. If you've enjoyed this video and you haven't already subscribed to this channel, please consider doing so. And whether you're newly subscribing or you've previously subscribed, please do make sure you hit the little bell, the notification button down below. That will of course alert you when I upload future videos. But that's everything for this video. So until next time, bye for now.